Welcome back to another video. The Last Call is a popular unsolved mystery podcast that covers all things missing, murdered, and mysterious. This is a listener discretion warranted for this episode as we cover a case that has left its community shaken for decades. If you'd like to submit a tip in regards to any unsolved case, you can do so through the provided email. All emails will be kept confidential. On December 1986, a woman by the name of Cheryl Grimmer went to visit her mother, Shirley Grimmer, at her home in Santa Barbara, California. Cheryl had seen her mother in quite some time and had only spoken to her over the phone every couple months. Many people in the community believed that she was responsible for her mother's death. Although Cheryl was never charged, the case remained cold for decades. That was until recently, when it was picked up by the popular podcast The Last Call. After re-interviewing Cheryl and other members of Shirley's life, the podcast host believes that Shirley was most likely killed during a botched robbery. Their relationship wasn't a particularly close one, but Cheryl still looked forward to seeing her mother. I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Last Call. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching. When Cheryl arrived at her mother's house, she noticed her mother's boyfriend, a man named Vernon Buckman, outside mowing the lawn. Had Cheryl simply called 911 when she heard her mother's final scream, it's likely that her mother would have survived. But instead, Cheryl waited nearly an hour before calling the police. When officers arrived on the scene, they found not only Shirley's body, but also signs that her house had been ransacked. Although the case was eventually ruled a homicide, no arrests were ever made. Cheryl would later say that when she entered the house, everything seemed fine. As she turned off the light in the bathroom, she heard her mother scream from the other room. Assuming that maybe she just tripped or something, Cheryl went back into the living room. To her surprise, her mother was nowhere to be found. And as she began to call out for her mother, Cheryl noticed a pair of feet under the television. When she moved the television, she found her mother lying dead on the floor, bound with electrical cords, and although it may have been dark in the room, Cheryl knew in her gut that her mother's face had been mutilated beyond recognition. She watched television with her mother for a while and even had dinner together. But as the evening progressed, Cheryl began to notice that her mother was acting strange. Shirley was unusually quiet and withdrawn. And although it wasn't really a cold evening, she insisted on keeping the windows shut and the curtains drawn. Cheryl found this odd, but didn't think much of it at the time. After some time, Cheryl decided to go to the bathroom. To this day, it's unknown what exactly happened to Shirley Grimmer, but what is known is that her daughter ignored her last cry for help. It is important to note that Cheryl immediately became the prime suspect in the case, and although she did pass a lie detector test, what are your thoughts on this case? Let me know in the comments below.